Now on to the second sheet, which shows you how to do the KFm airfoil. And like I said, we're going to do a top and bottom, which I've never done before. And to stiffen it up, I'm going to put into either the top or bottom, haven't decided which. Quite possibly the bottom, because I might end up cutting pieces out of the top. Fiberglass rods. These are cheap, except for shipping. I think it's 10 for about $2. And as you can see, one of them, you could probably get one side and the middle piece of the A-frame out of one piece. So you end up using one and a little bit more than half of those per plane, which is really cheap when you consider it's 10 for $2. Okay, so for the airfoil, and this leftover piece of Dow Cladmate. Let's see how that. Is that even close? Not really. Well, it gets. I think we need, according to the instructions, 4.5 inches. So half of the nine here. We need to have the thick foam, and this, I could split it. I could do it in 2 separate pieces. 4.5 inches. I'm going to be missing the middle section here, which might be okay for part of the plane. I could patch it in, or I can look for a better piece of foam. Let me just take a quick peek to see if I've got a slightly larger piece of foam. Larger, no, but different shape, yes. And that, my good friends, is much closer to what we need. Perfect. So I'm going to do the lazy man technique here. Check it out. And it's more than 4.5 inches. Don't you just love it? So I'm just going to line that up and use what I can of previous cuts. Anybody seen my pen? There we go. Boom. Boom. That's good. That's good. Boom. Boom, boom, and boom. Worry about the 4.5 part after I make these main cuts. I think I would like a slightly better knife for these cuts since this is thicker foam. Maybe I'll just cut each one twice. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. So you notice I haven't actually used a ruler at all on this, just other than just to verify that this piece is big enough. I used the main piece just to verify a guideline. Now I know this is going to be correct. I know that that's going to be 30 inches wide, right? And it is. I know that's going to be 11 inches deep, and it is. What I don't know is the 4.5 inches on the sides here. So I need to mark those. So these sides are 4.5. Here. Here. And we need to get rid of that. That's awkward. It's pretty awkward to me when it's on an angle, but I'll trust my gut instincts here. I'll just cut first and ask questions later. Stop the presses. Now we got 4.5. We want, take a look here, 5.5 in the center. These are my extremely accurate measurements. Go down here to 5.5. And I use 4 inches. Well, that's not good. There goes my ASC. There's a 4-inch width here. So, there. I guess I really didn't need to cut this bottom piece like that if I had followed the instructions rather than just trying to wing it. Four, 1, 4 and 8, 3 and 5, no, 2, 6, should give you not quite sure why I'm finding this so awkward. I think maybe my dot there is off. We'll see when we drive. There. That look pretty close to good. It does, doesn't it? Hope my complete lack of explanation here is helping you to not understand a damn thing I'm doing. This is the basic piece, basic airfoil. You go on top there. There's your step. So you're gonna have a step like that, top and bottom. Yeah, top and bottom. So I have a decision to make here. Do I want to make this exact design, or do I want to leave myself the more full design, maybe come out to here for the top piece, and then hollow out the spot for the battery to sit in and the receiver, so there's a little less wind resistance. That is a decision point. But let's assume for a second that this is the bottom piece. I know I'm going to want to add in my A-frame. So I'm just going to use this ruler as a guide at 2 inches. And I'm just going to go right from the center on about a 45. I'm going to dig into the foam. Slightly sharper X-Acto knife might come in handy for this. I'm going to do the same thing the other direction. Same deal. Wow. Is that not supposed to be 4.5 inches? Doesn't look like 4.5 inches, does it? Certainly doesn't. It's 3.5 inches. This, my friends, is garbage. Ah! Can we get away with garbage? Good question. So that's why things look wrong. I measured wrong. And that is 3 3/4 inches. And this is 4 1/4. Neither one of them is the 4.5 that we wanted at the beginning. So I'm going to compensate. I'm going 1/2 inch here. I'm going to measure. I know this isn't entirely accurate. That's just about 5 to that. That's just over 5 to that. So I'm going to, let's just assume, crazy little assumption, that this is my mistake. I'm just going to take that off. Now it's not going to be the same as the design dimensions, but at least it'll be the same on the left and right hand side of the aircraft. After all, it's much more important. Alright. Carry on with what I was doing, which was making room for the spar. So there you go. We have room for our spar, and the same thing across here. You just have to believe me, I was much more careful than this on the first couple planes. Can't even see that line. I'm assuming it's there. So, let me show you how this is going to work. Just lay that in there. Measurement to here. Cut. Could be any easier. This one, like I said, almost it's there, but it will definitely fit across here. And cut. I get these carbon fiber rods from Hobby King. I'm sure local hobby shops would sell something similar. There you go. Here's my A-frame. So, to fasten in the A-frame, usually I do it at the same time as I'm going to glue it to the airplane itself. So I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to put it to the side. I said that one was going to be on the bottom. I'm going to do something very similar here on my top piece, except like I was saying before, I'm going to change up the dimensions just a little bit from the diagram, because this is ultimately going to be a 200 km/h plane, I hope. So here we go. There, 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 there. Okay. It's time for either a new knife or to break a piece off this one. Better to have a sharp blade. This blade is causing me grief. It always amazes me, the difference and how stubborn I am to save 10 cents worth of blades. Now cutting through it like butter. Okay, so that's cut out. Now, we did 3 3/4 on the top. So I'm also going to do 3 3/4 on the bottom. I want to keep it symmetrical. 3/4 is right there. I have no idea how I made that mistake last time, but that's fine. And I believe it was 5.5 here, so I know that's 8. I'm mark it at 4. My center, come down here, 5.5 right there. And there and there. I'm not going to worry about drawing on the foam. I'm going to cut that out, but not... How much of this am I going to keep? I'm going to keep right to here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Like that. That. Which is awkward looking. But this is our top piece, like so. Now, no, okay. So we got that. It's the bottom. This is on there like that. This sits on the top, and I will possibly hollow out an area here for the batteries. And once I do some sanding, we have ourselves a KFm airfoil. It's pretty stiff actually. Will I need more support? KFm-4. Will I need 2 more support pieces here to compensate for what I'm going to cut out? I'm not sure. Why don't I cut it out first and see? Just go. Let's go 1.5 deep. That it's almost 5 wide, so does that look right? Doesn't even look right. fingers on the bottom here. If you do it this way. I don't expect anybody to actually build this way. This is going completely differently than where the plans were in the first place. So I'll likely be doing yet another build video. The original one. Let's measure the batteries. This will be my power plant. It's two 1000 kV batteries. Sorry, 1000 kV. 1000 milliamp hour batteries. They're 4-cell. I can fit two of them in like that. These can't be the same. Is that even possible? Look at the difference in thickness between these two. Same brand. Same batteries. Supposedly the same batteries. It almost looks like one of these has got an extra cell. Okay, well maybe it's better than mount them this way. They're certainly not the same dimensions. And that's sitting up very high out of the plane. To do them this way, I need more room, and I don't have more room. Maybe I have more room if I do it down here. I do that much there, much there. And done. So close. Well, that definitely works. And just do a little bit more. On that side. So there you go. That's where the batteries are going to fit in. Once that's glued down, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to do a cross brace because I have, or should have, this extra piece right here. So I'm going to do a cross brace about that long. There we go. Just a little cross brace, just a little something to stiffen that up. So now, I'm going to clean up this stuff just a little. I'll do it the easy way. Time to glue. I'm missing something for this gluing process. I am missing water mister. I'll be back in 30 seconds. I'm back. Handy water mister in hand. Two glues that I like to use, other than hot glue. Elmer's Ultimate and Gorilla Glue. Find them pretty much the same. This one's a little bit thinner, a little bit cheaper. So today I'll use Elmer's Ultimate, and like all polyurethane glues, you need a little water. So, a little water. Ooh. Been well. There we go. I like to lay a little bead in where I do the A-frame, because obviously this glue expands, and obviously those fiberglass rods aren't a perfect fit. Set them in on top of the glue. Oh, and of course, it's always handy to have something to wipe your hands off on. For today, I'll be using foam for that. It's the bottom of the plane. Now, in previous builds, I've had to worry about at this point about mounting the motor. For this build, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to mount the motor afterwards. And that's going to make it so that, number one, I can take the motor off if I want to replace it with a different motor. And number two, it's going to make it a little bit easier for this part of the build. I probably don't have to really do this, what I'm doing right now. Just spread it out just a little bit and make a mess. Alright, top and bottom, let's get it right. I look over at my reference plane, which is dark on the bottom, light on the top. That's what I want for this plane. Lay it in place. Now, that glue is not going to set right away. So that's not that big a deal. Now for the top piece. It's going to be a little tougher because what I have here is I've got my spar, but it's going to be upside down when I put it on plane. I haven't quite got that part figured out yet, how that's going to all come together. I'm just sure it'll just work itself out. Lots around that opening. There we go. Now, how would you do this? A little piece of tape, a little dab of hot glue, or rely on surface tension and speed. 1, 2, 3. Surface tension and speed wins the day. There we go. Now, lining those up 100% perfectly not really essential because I'm going to sand anyway. But underneath this, because that glue does expand, I'll put this bad boy underneath here just to catch some of, at least some of the overrun. I'll find some other pieces as well. Oh, how convenient. I've got one here. I've got one here. So now all I need to do is find some stuff that's heavy, put on it. So looking around the office, we have 2 Ryobi batteries that do not work anymore. Perfect. We have 1 can of plastic dip. Perfect. We have some Elmer's spray adhesive. And an old bottle of white glue. What else? What else do we have that's heavy enough? Ah, my favorite. I might just have to move a couple of these down. Some weights. Not mine. I would like something a little bit heavier in this spot. And I see some heavier weights over there, but that's not going to work out. It's going to be a little too much. I don't want to crush the foam. Let me just put one extra thing on here. This isn't all that heavy, some 3M spray on glue. Okay, so let me just take this back.